Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. Bye. Let's get straight to this. Tekashi 6ix9ine stabbed 31 times in a federal prison? Wow. I call for the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled. So Daniel Hernandez, aka Tekashi 6ix9ine, everyone's favorite favorite rapper, right? Has been reported to have been stabbed over 31 times in a federal holding cell in the federal prison. Now, there's always a lot of stories that go on, and if you immediately tap into it, they seem believable, right? There's a backstory. There's a reasoning why. But if you believe that bullshit, well, hey, that's on you. I'm here to tell you right now, it's a hoax. It's another ploy or another reason to tell a story about Daniel Hernandez, Tekashi 6ix9ine, so that way he can get more attention. But you know what they say? If you start speaking negative energy, you're going to receive negative energy. Don't play with prison. Don't ask for it or you shall receive it. Okay? This story was circulated a couple days ago on some pretty prominent media sites, right? Actually, the big media site X put the story out first. One of the first big media sites to put it out saying Daniel Hernandez, Tekashi 6ix9ine was stabbed over 31 times. You know, there's also been a big story circulating that he passed away due to these injuries, succumbed at the hands of several other inmates, and that there was actually a melee between black inmates and Raza inmates, and Daniel Hernandez was involved. Now, we all know Daniel Hernandez recently, as far back as a couple years ago, started hanging around with, you know, people like Grupo Firme and other people of Latino origins, right? The Raza. But the gang that he was once part of, Trey Way, right, was a predominant black gang out of New York City. Now, 6ix9ine has been in the media for a long time, and he is on his Sammy the Bullshit. Everybody knows that 6ix9ine, I mean, he's a self-proclaimed snitch, a rat, right? He's not shy about it. He doesn't hide it. He pulls up to a lot of places with security, sometimes without security, recently without security because he doesn't have enough money to buy a tampon, right, to stop the bleeding, especially if he got plugged 31 times. I'm here to tell you it's a big hoax. It's another situation where Daniel Hernandez just wants to be in the limelight. You know, when a person goes to prison, they kind of lose that luster. No one's talking about him anymore. Easy come, bye, go. You know, how do I know? Because I was once part of that. Seemed like my name was buzzing on the streets. I was out there. I was actively moving around, doing what I was doing back in the days, right? And my name was in everybody's dental, all up in their frontal, all in their mouths. Everyone, Gunner this, Gunner that, Gunner's out here moving, right? And in the meantime, in between time, that gave plenty of ample opportunity for those that were haters and those that didn't like me. And even a lot of close homeboys that felt intimidated by my presence, felt that I was going to get him caught up in a situation because I was out there doing bad shit. They started reporting me. Started turning me in. You know, I remember running around on the run, and we're going to get to that in a minute. Man, my own homeboys turned my ass in. There's a homeboy I talk to still. Thinks I don't know, but I know, right? So, and you know, they say keep your enemies close. It just is what it is. One day, we'll be too. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Like Diana Ross, right? But I will say this. This story went out and people were concerned. Like I said, X dropped it on their platform. And, you know, when X drops something on their platform, people read it and they run with it. And there was a lot of people getting in my DMs, a lot of people getting on my lives saying, hey, did you hear that they finally got Tekashi? Now, Tekashi is definitely a wanted man in the criminal underworld. Okay, you don't just blatantly tell and aggravate people by boasting and bragging on it and saying you're Batman and you're a superhero and you did a good deed and get away with it. Now, the gang he was from, I'm sure they're pretty upset because there's a lot of guys doing time behind things that 6ix9ine said and testified it in and comments and statements he made. Now, at the same time, you know, I thought it was very, very odd that it took this long for anyone to do anything to him, right? If they did anything to him. I'm here to tell you nothing happened to him. That man is fucking sitting down right now on the toilet, probably reading the Bible. And that's just the truth, right? No disrespect to religion. That's just probably what he's doing, because all of a sudden, just within this last few weeks, it's been reported that Daniel Hernandez, right, Tekashi, had an epiphany. He believes now that God is the only way to go, which, if he was smart enough to understand and really get into it, it's always been that way. You know, when 6ix9ine decided to tell, there was a lot of excuses. And I'll tell you guys right now, there's never an excuse to tell. If you decide to go that route and do that, living the criminal lifestyle, being a part of that, seeing things that you've seen, then you know exactly what the repercussions for the loose lips are. Okay, the loose lips will sink your ships. Okay, there's been a lot of things that have happened to 6ix9ine allegedly in the past years since he testified against his compadres, right? One of them being a girlfriend of 6ix9ine's was allegedly killed. Okay, and there was a lot of stories going out that it was 6ix9ine that they were targeting, but we know that to be false. We know that to be a hoax. We know that to be just rumors, because she had whatever she had going on, and she was just a victim of circumstances. But that tie-in with 6ix9ine, automatically people jumped on the internet, on social media, proclaiming it was because of him. He was the one that was targeted, and it was a hit gone wrong. But in fact, 6ix9ine was not even in the vicinity, or had he been with her anytime, you know, within the last months before that happened. So that was different, definitely a different situation. But her tie-in to him was that they once dated, or they were good friends, right? And then there was the alleged home invasion, where the island boys, right, pulled up with big noses and skinny ass tight jeans and shirts that only go up to here. Look, look it. Let me put an addendum out here. If your shirt doesn't pass your elbows, don't fucking talk to me. Straight up. You can't wear a tight and a loose shirt at the same time. You can't be skinny and fat at the same time. You know, you can't be made out of fucking cartilage and running around on the internet thinking you're intimidating someone. Look, anyone could pull a gun, but these motherfuckers nowadays, their arms are this big and they don't look like they can lift one. I'm just saying. I can fuck around and go out there tomorrow and get hit by an Edgar. But come on now. I'll probably laugh while getting shot. It's just the truth. I mean, my last glimpse would be a motherfucker with a skinny, tight, loose shirt on, a schmedium, bucking at me, and I'll be like, and then die. You know, that's just how it is. Anyways, when X reported that 6ix9ine was stabbed, it was a pretty elaborate story. But again, it's just another link in the chain of events of 6ix9ine and his hoaxes, his attention. That's what that man is. He's pretty much put out the blueprint for attention and clout, right? He is the cap master. That guy right there seems to always be one step ahead when it comes to misdirecting or putting false stories out there. The whole story about his house being robbed and a home invasion and the Island Boys involvement and all this was all inside shit. It was all another way for social media to disrupt what you got going on in the day and trick your mind into thinking that this guy was a victim, when in fact, he even put his own mother involved in them shenanigans and that skit, right? Because that's what that was, a skit. I know there's people know that was real. That was real corny, is what that was. And then to even place blame on a couple of dudes that are fucking caught kissing each other on fucking Twitter, right? It's just not cool. But this is the life that this guy lives. As long as he seeks attention, he'll get attention. And people like myself and you and everyone else that's watching this video gives him that attention. So now there's a story leaked that he's hit 31 times in federal prison. And for those that have ever been in prison, it sounds feasible, right? It sounds like it could happen, especially someone who has the jacket of Tekashi 6ix9ine, who has been known to testify against hardcore gang members and get them life imprisonment charges, right? Now, actually, he didn't get them life imprisonment charges. They got themselves those charges. He just associated with the feds and helped and manipulated the system into pointing misdirection, point the fingers away from himself towards them. And there was a lot of people, well, what would you do? They were sleeping with his old lady. They were robbing him. They were doing him bad. What other measure could he do? I don't know. He was a gang member, was showing a whole bunch of guns in his music videos. Maybe use one of those. I don't know, right? But at the same time, he chose the route he chose. He made his bed like Nipsey Hussle said, and he's going to lay in it. But now he's laying in a federal prison bed. Now, that's facts. He did turn himself in on January 6th into federal custody, right, to go do 3 months. It's kind of like a simple violation. He got caught while on the ankle monitor with something he shouldn't have had in his possession. And now he has to go and do some time. Now, he's been having a lot of trouble with the law, a lot of trouble in life. You know, when you think you're up, you go down. When you think you're down, hey, you go up. That's like me dropping videos right here on social media. Sometimes I said, oh, this is a good one. And dud, donut, gaga, right? And then there's one I'm like, I don't even want to put that shit out. And it does a gang of fucking views. You just never know. Such is life in the algorithm, right? Tekashi 6ix9ine was not stabbed. This is a story put out by his management team, his friends, and his homeboys to get him attention while he's incarcerated. Because just him being locked up is not enough. Okay? Like I said, when you get locked up, your name does the fizzle pop. Your name fizzles out. No one cares anymore. Out of sight, out of mind. You're doing time, and no one gives a shit about you. They give a whole lot of shit about your old lady. They give a whole lot of shit about the possessions and the money that you had before you got locked up. If it's still laying around, your homies will definitely go and pick that up. But they're definitely not going to go pick you up when you get out or put money on your books or any of that. Because out of sight, out of mind, the talents that you supposedly have and allegedly are in possession of are there with you incarcerated. So there is nothing you could do for anyone. And when there is nothing that you could do for anyone, there is no one that could do anything for you. Remember that, right? Now, by putting out a story like this keeps his name buzzing just enough to keep people wondering and guessing and saying his name and speaking shit into existence. So that way, when he is released from incarceration, he can say, "Oh no, that never happened. That was just some rumors. I'm a real one. I'm a real one, man. I would have did this and I would have did that." We already know what you did and what you would have done. You would have told. Okay. Now, getting hit 31 times is pretty violent and pretty vicious. But on the average, that's about standard, especially in like the California prison system. Now, I know Tekashi is in the federal holding system, and being who he is, and I know there's from what I hear, I've never been to the feds, but no protective custody in the feds. What's going to happen is 6ix9ine is probably going to be put on the softest available yard possible. Now, can something happen to him? Most definitely. Something can happen to you in life every day. You could walk out and a feather could fall on your head and crack your shit, right? But at the same time, because of who he is, because these federal officers know what his status is as far as being a fucking informant, it seems like he's going to be protected or placed into a softer custody yard where he doesn't have those issues. Now, that doesn't mean he still can't get touched up. That doesn't mean that he won't have to plea bargain his way out, or that don't mean that he won't take a fade. But at the same time, he is not going to be looked at as in high regards, and they're probably going to place him somewhere where he's pretty comfortable. You know, remember when everyone said, oh, as soon as Diddy gets there, they're going to smash him. They're going to do this. That motherfucker is keeping it on the down low. That motherfucker right there with R. Kelly, oiled up. Bad Bunny'd out the game. Meek milled, right? Ain't no one touched him. Ain't no one said nothing to him. If in fact, he probably going to do the Suge Knight, buy everybody a TV. You know, what you seem to want to happen and what you seem to believe is never what it is. You know, I've been to prison. It's not every day, all day, these rats and roaches and shiesty approaches are getting removed off the yards. It seems like a lot of the things that you see and you hear about as far as prison killings happen for the most mediocre of things, right? For the most minimal of things. A dude getting whacked because someone says something he did in 1987, right? Meanwhile, there's a dude who's testifying against everyone and he's walking the yard freely. I'm just saying, though, it's things to make you go, to make you wonder. You know, so as far as these stories being put out there, was 6ix9ine stabbed 31 times? Hoax. Absolute hoax. No, he was not. It has been reported he's fine. He's sitting on the toilet giving his cellular reach around as we speak. Okay, so don't worry about Tekashi 6ix9ine because he's definitely not worried about manipulating you. That man's whole foundation and his whole shtick is all predicated on disrupting the thinking of people and making them think he's something he's not. Now, I will give 6ix9ine props in this, and this only. He doesn't sugarcoat nothing, add preservatives, or bullshit you. When he's asked on all these different platforms that he shows up to, kind of solo too, right? Why he tells you straight up. He doesn't hold no punches. Doesn't make no excuses, just straight up. Got to respect that no matter what it is. If a man is willing to just be blunt with it, you got to respect it. Now, there's a lot of things I don't respect about him. Okay, the whole telling situation, that's between him, God, and those people he told on. That has zero to do with me and doesn't affect my daily life. Would I approach 6ix9ine and do something bad to him? Absolutely not. That's none of my business, right? A couple incidents have happened to 6ix9ine, right? You remember when he went to that gym in Miami, Florida, and he got snatched up by some alleged Latin kings and ragdolled all around that toilet. Okay, it's people feeling some type of way. And it wasn't because he told and he snitched and they felt that they had to fucking do something to him on behalf of some dudes that don't give a fuck about them. They did it more so because he was disrespecting their turf and disrespecting the Latin King movement. Amodere, shout out respects, right? And that's why he got touched up. It is what it is. Also, you know what I'm saying? When you're 6ix9ine and you're flashing all this jewelry and all these cars and talking about you wear houses on your arms and all this stuff, someone's going to see you and need that. Can I hold some? Right? That's just how that goes. So when this story was put out about him being stabbed 31 times, I ain't even going to lie. I was like, wow, they got him, huh? You know, that situation finally caught up to him because everybody has something that they've done in the negatory, in the negative, right? And old beefs, past transgressions, things of that nature can catch up to you. And they tend to. You know, it's a small world after all. Who said that? I don't know. One of those fucking Disney characters. I stopped watching that shit when I seen sex in The Lion King. But I'm saying that there's a lot of different things that you have done in your life that can catch up to you. People that you oppressed, bullied, people that you did dirty, you know, people that just don't like you, happen to see you in the street walking on the other side of the road and want to cross the street. They jaywalk all of a sudden, right? So anything can happen to anyone at any time, but it's pretty understandable to believe a story, pretty believable that this man gets incarcerated and gets hit 31 times because there's a lot of people that seem to have beef with him. Even though he wiggles around LA, he wiggles around New York, he wiggles around Chicago, he wiggles around South America, he wiggles around fucking Mexico, and he's untouched. That doesn't mean people don't want to get him. That just means they haven't got him yet. Just how that goes. But for people that are putting out these negative stories, you need to understand when you speak negative energy into the air, you bring it to life. You breathe life into it. You know, that's someone running around talking about, oh, he got stabbed 31 times. Then when he does get hit, people are going to be like, God damn, I shouldn't have said that. No, you shouldn't have. And excuse me for saying God damn, but that's just what I said. Shouldn't have, but I did, right? Now I got repercussions for my actions. And the Lord will striketh me down, right? For reals. And I'm not fucking mocking it. I'm just being real. I remember when I was running around, right? And I was actively gangbanging and doing bad shit. And I remember I thought I had to watch out for the opposition, the enemies. But my own enemies lived in my fucking backyard. Some even in my living room laying on my couch. My own homeboys wanted to get rid of me. Either wanted to take me out. And there's been plenty of stories that I've told where I was put in a position where I knew they were going to get me, but they didn't got me. And then also other situations where they let law enforcement know where I was at when I was on the run and things like that. It's a cold world. After all, it's a cold game, right? When it comes to Tekashi 6ix9ine, there are people that literally want him out the way. There are people that applauded the fact that he had to go to federal prison. I am not one of them. I don't wish incarceration on anyone besides people that harm women and children, right? Then you can get the fuck up out of here. Straight up. Bye-bye, Jakey, the snakey, right? That's how I feel. Tekashi 6ix9ine is going to meet his maker however he meets him, just like us. No one knows the time nor the place. But as far as meeting it, having already met him in the prison getting stabbed 31 times, that was a false narrative put out there. Like I said, just for clout, just to gain attention. I mean, how bad is it? How bad is it that you need the attention? Oh, man, I got hit 31 times in prison. And best believe it stems from Tekashi. It just isn't someone that started a rumor just because they don't like Tekashi. He had something to do with that. Hey, all right, man, did the dick ride? Did the dick slide 31 times? Right? That motherfucker said, hey, put out a story out there that I got fucking so you can keep my name buzzing. So when I get out in a couple months, I could drop an album about how I fucking changed my life. And you know, and that's just how that goes. Anyways, I just wanted to put out there for the people that truly, honestly believe it. Don't believe only half the shit you read, not even a percentage or a portion of that too. Dissect it, vet shit out. No, he wasn't stabbed. He's perfectly fine, but that doesn't mean he can't be. He is in prison and anything could happen. But as of to this date, No, he's not. He's got a couple more, about 2.5 months left on his little chicken shit sentence. And Tekashi's going to be back out with paint all over him and girls with fucking BBLs twerking in the background. That's what's going to happen. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of people tuning into it. How these individuals are allowed to even manipulate people and people still pay attention is beyond me. But it just is what it is, and there's no hatred. But no, Tekashi didn't get hit. That was a big hoax. I'm surprised, really honestly surprised that Twitter ran with that story, or X, or whatever they call it, right? That they ran with that story without vetting it. You know, sometimes you get ahead of yourself. I've done it in the past. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to bullshit you and lie to you. You get a story, someone sends something to you, and you just immediately run with it, right? Without vetting it. And then there's repercussions. You have to apologize. You feel like shit, man. You put someone's life in danger. There's all types of different things. So if you're in social media, man, basically do your homework. You know, kind of, a little bit, whatever. Anyways, 6ix9ine's all right. Don't worry. All you fucking dick riders of 6ix9ine, he'll be fine. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. This video is sponsored by Barrio Liquors out there in Turlock, California, who has not been stabbed 31 times and does not need medical attention. But what you needed is to slide in and go get you something cold to drink and tell the homeboy Lale I said what's up. Remember, it's out there in Turlock, California, Barrio Liquors. Also, this video is sponsored by the one and only Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in Arizona, man. Tap in with the homeboy. Google him. Look him up. And if it's in your direct area and you need some yard work done, ain't no one like him. There ain't nothing. There's not a harder worker on earth besides a paisa and a cholo that has felonies and knows he doesn't want to go back. This is the gun. Bang, bang. Tekashi ain't no thing.